This is Big Business with Sarah, the podcast for entrepreneurs who want to continue building their business and understand you should never stop learning. The 18 systems that help me run my business every day and why. So you can't run an online business without having some systems in place. But also if you're not that much into running your business online, and if you have a lot of real life business happening, there's still so much you can do to stop doing repetitive tasks. And I'm not a big fan of those. So by using some programs and some tools that can really help you. And you can listen, by the way, to all my productivity tips in episode number 17. But in this episode, I am sharing with you some of the systems or apps that I'm using for free or paying a small fee for that has really, I don't want to say changed my life because I think that's a little bit too much credit to some programs, but has really changed the way I'm looking at my business and that I'm thinking, oh my, I wish I knew this sooner. So before this, I'm going to share with you that I've worked, my first job at Museum Nights. I didn't really know a lot about a program called Excel. And I remember just doing a lot of, repetitive tasks and just really kind of, I didn't even know how to calculate, do a sum. I don't know if you're saying that in English. I think it's called sum as well. So how to calculate, just do additions, on, 2 plus 2 is 4. And I didn't know how to do that automatically. So at the end of my museum night, I still had some budget left for self-development. I invested in an Excel course. I think it has been one of the best investments I ever done. And that's when I thought, you know what? Systems are actually really great. And the computer can really help us. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, who is saying the computer? It's me. I'm from 86. So I'm still born in the age that I was actually writing my first book, which was not really a book, on a typewriter. I was just writing some stories. I loved writing. And I actually used a real typewriter, and that was the thing. And I remember once we got our first computer, it was just to type up documents. And, we had a printer with those holes on the sides, that, I've been through the whole digital revolution. So, just to know, just for you to know what is my level here and, where I'm coming from and where I'm now. So the first app that has really helped me a lot is Calendly. By the way, this is totally not sponsored or affiliated, or I'm not getting any money from this. I actually should, but I don't have that. So maybe if you're listening to this in 6 months, I will have some affiliate links, but I don't have them right now if you're listening to this in October 2022. Anyway, Calendly has really helped me schedule my appointments. So I remember, just always going back and forth with those emails, like, yeah, I can do 1, but then I have to finish at 1:30, and actually Thursday would be better. And, actually that's such a waste of time, not just from my time, but also from, for instance, my clients or my business partner or, whomever I was working with, maybe someone from my team. So it helped me schedule all my appointments from sales calls to coaching calls as well. And I love the Zoom integration. So if you planned a meeting, then all of a sudden there's a Zoom link as well. And so I don't have to do anything anymore. It's just there in our calendars. I don't have to send a reminder. Sometimes people say, I lost my Calendly link. And I'm saying, it's in your agenda, and then there it is. Second tool I'm using is ClickUp. This is a project management tool, and it helps me and my team know exactly what to work on which week, and it allows me to see progress. And I mostly use it for launches, and it's not really so much for day-to-day. But I am going to switch to Notion, by the way, but still figuring it out. I recently discovered, and this is a little bit like my Excel training here, that Notion is actually the place to go. So yeah, I will get back to you about that. The third system I'm using is Slack. So I wrote down I only communicate through Slack with my team. Of course, sometimes we WhatsApp, sometimes we email, but the general rule is that I want to communicate with my team through Slack. Why am I doing that? Because I really want to keep business and private separated. So as much as I love my team, by the way, I just don't want that. And I have very, very clear boundaries on this. Also, for instance, it happened a few times that friends of mine would send out my telephone number and, to potential clients for me. And I said to them, what, thank you so much for giving me that lead. But I really don't want to communicate through my phone, and I actually don't want anyone to have my telephone number anymore, except when they're clients, VIP clients. So that's a little bit background about that. Why am I having such strong boundaries? Is because simply I really don't like to mix business with pleasure in my telephone. Something new that I'm trying, by the way, is that I'm leaving my telephone in the evenings, I'm leaving my telephone somewhere else. So I'm not looking at my phone anymore. And it has been a huge game changer. So I'm leaving it in my bedroom. And if I'm sleeping, I'm leaving it in my living room. Fourth system I'm using is Google Drive. And this is my vault for projects, documents that my team needs to see. Also, my private clients get a separate folder which we use to exchange documents and comments. And I think it's just such a great way to share because everyone can really use it. Dropbox is my cloud. Fifth system is Dropbox is my cloud in which I'm storing all of my podcast recordings, video trainings for my courses, coaching call replays. So I have a personal and a business Dropbox account. Because I'm recording so many things, this is an audio recording and a video recording. So I'm recording in audio, I'm recording in GarageBand, and the video in Zoom. I'll talk about it later. So those are all separate files, so I have to store them correctly. The sixth system I'm using is Voxer. So this is what I spoke about, in system number 4 is Voxer is a walkie-talkie app that I use to communicate with my mastermind and private clients. So it's a little bit like WhatsApp, but because it's a different app, I am not mixing that business with pleasure, what I spoke about before. So I can decide to have my notifications on Voxer, yes or no, or I can decide to, and then actually still have conversations with my friends without getting client questions, right in between. I'm fine with it. It's a transition right now. It can happen. Of course, no worries. If you're listening to this and you're a client and you have my telephone number, don't worry. We'll fix it. It's all fine. But the thing is that I really want to have this separated. My 7th tool is ConvertKit, which is my email provider. And my email provider enables me to send group emails and to build funnels and small landing pages. So I have a few funnels set up right now. I'm also going to create a quiz funnel on my website, and I have a few small landing pages. So my landing pages are mostly for downloads. So I have a lot of free guides and my free sales training. Those are all connected through ConvertKit. So my 8th system is Typeform, and I use this application forms for new clients and progress forms and evaluation forms for existing clients. So Typeform, I think it's a really beautiful program. You can also use Google Forms, by the way, but I wanted to step it up. This is not a very cheap app, by the way. I think I'm paying about €27 each month, but I think it's worth it because I can really see the results very well. I mean, it's a beautiful interface. I can work very happily and very freely with it, and that's really worth the money for me. But you can also use Google Forms. And for me, this is just a great way to connect with my clients. Not everybody wants to do a sales call, so just have them, fill out my application form will already give me a lot of information to see if they are a fit to my programs. The 9th system I'm using is Teachable, and this is my course hub. I run multiple courses, and I'm actually very happy to use one platform in which I can store all of my course content. And it's also not very cheap, by the way. I am thinking of maybe integrating my courses into my own website, but I haven't decided on that yet because I am paying quite a lot to Teachable right now. And some of the parts of the interface aren't very clear to my clients and also not to me. So, because I don't understand it, they don't understand it. So I want to see if I can change that. But the thing that I like about Teachable is that you can download the app and then actually watch the course from home or from, when you're walking or cooking or anything. So, that's what I really like about Teachable. And it's also a beautiful interface for my clients. The 10th system I'm using is Zapier, and this app allows to connect other apps. So imagine someone buys from me. Thanks to Zapier, they will immediately will receive an email. They will be directed to my course hub. I think it's also thanks to Zapier that they will receive an invoice. I'm not really sure if Zapier does that, but so this is an if this then that app. So it says if this happens, then that should happen. Also, Zapier helps me create Instagram. So I have my Instagram account, and then it will automatically go to Pinterest. I'm not doing anything with Pinterest, but I just it's just there. It's fine to me. I don't have to do anything for it. Didn't get any leads from Pinterest, by the way. But it's there, and I don't have to do anything. I don't have to pay extra for it. So it's just there. 11th system I'm using is WooCommerce. This is my online shop. So this is where the orders are coming in, and and where are all the little shopping baskets and everything. Then I'm using Molly. I think I'm not really sure it's a Dutch program. I mean, I know that it's a Dutch business, by the way, but I'm not really sure that only Dutch people can use it. And this system really takes care of my payments. So if payments come in, for instance, somebody's paying with a credit card, then they are checking, if they can get the money from the credit card, and then they will, give the money to me. So they are, apparently this is necessary. I didn't even know. Also, something very interesting about this is that, when they researched my business and me, they are really, really looking very strict to my business. I have to apply many, many different rules. And one of the things they asked was, hey, you're a politician. You were a politician, because I was active in politics. And, they wanted to see if there wasn't something, happening that I was going, through the back door or whatever. I'm not active in politics anymore. So it's impossible, but they're actually very strict. And I think that's quite good, actually. Anyway, 13th system I'm using is Canva. So anything I need to design, I'm designing actually everything myself. So for instance, content, presentations, quotas, you name it. I'm creating this in Canva. I'm having the pro version. It allows me to do anything I want. I like designing a little bit. I'm not saying I'm a designer at all. I did have my logo designed. I did have some things designed. For instance, your summer reset, I didn't design myself. So, there are some things that I'm delegating, but I really like to play around because I'm offering so much, and it's just impossible to let everything designed by some other agency. I mean, the cost would be too high. System number 14 is I'm using WordPress plus an Elementor skin for my website. So my virtual assistant built my website in WordPress, and she created an Elementor skin so that I can actually easily change my own website right now. So I need her for some new integrations. If there's a new product coming, I really still need her help. But it's getting much easier for me all the time. And, it took quite a while before I understood the tool Zapier. But actually, I do agree with people who say that you should kind of get through the motions yourself to understand what is happening in your business. So yeah, I'm very happy to be able to do a lot myself now. For instance, I spoke about this. I'm not sure if I spoke about this in this episode, but I just recorded another episode. I'm sorry, I'm blanking here, but I'm also going to create a quiz funnel. on my website. I really wanted it on my website. I was thinking if that doesn't work, I want to do it in type form. But a quiz funnel is actually something that allows me and my clients to see which program or which free tools can really help them get ahead, because I want to help as many people as possible. So that's a question that I'm asking my virtual assistant. Can you help me set up this quiz funnel? Because that's something I mean, I could do that, but it's really not within, my favorites, really not in my list of favorite things to do, to figure those things out. And she loves doing that. So, win-win there. 15th system is Zoom. I mentioned it before. So I use Zoom meetings I use Zoom for meetings and to record my video trainings, because my big business program is a video training. My free sales training workshop is a video training, and I'm creating much more video trainings very, very soon. And podcast recordings, the video, if you're watching on YouTube, this is recorded by Zoom, and my video producer helps me edit. System number 16 is Buzzsprout. This is my podcast hub, and this is where I'm uploading all my podcast episodes, and I could be on any platform I want. Now it's just Spotify. And if you want to learn about how to start creating your own podcast, by the way, you can listen to episode 37 about more on this, and I'm also talking a little bit more on Buzzsprout. But it's a very nice app to see, I think I'm paying $12 a month to create 4 hours of content each month. I think it's something like that. I'm not really sure, but I think it's that. And I'm never over the limit, because my episodes are never. Well, I think I recorded 2 episodes on 45 and 50 minutes, and that was a little bit too long. My aim is to have 20 to 25 minutes. So if I can manage that, you can see. And I never manage. I have no idea. I'm looking at the time, but it doesn't mean anything to me. When I'm recording, I'm not really focused on time. And my husband, we were talking about this yesterday, about the podcast and the length of the episodes. And he was mentioning that the previous 2 or 3 episodes were about 30 to 40 minutes. And he said, yeah, well, actually, it's very nice to listen to in the car if it's a longer episode. So, but I think 20 to 25 is the perfect number. By the way, I think I looked this up, and that was, there were some studies, and that was the perfect number. So, and then he told me, as a presenter or a host of conferences, you're always looking at the time. Yes, as a presenter and host of the conferences, but now I'm the speaker, and speakers never. I know this because I hosted a lot of conferences. It's very difficult to keep track of time when you're presenting, and actually that's what I'm doing right now as well. Long story short, this was my Buzzsprout systems, very much elaboration on what I use to publish my podcasts. I'm also using system number 17 is GarageBand. So I use this to do simple audio recordings like my private podcasts, and my audio producer helps me edit. There's other programs that you can use, but I think GarageBand is perfectly fine. It's a free app on Apple computers. And the 18th system I'm using is Airtable. And this is a very easy to use spreadsheet with automated columns, in which I am hosting my lead tracker, also my client progress. I'm not sure if my clients know this, by the way, but I'm writing down everything that they ask. And actually that client progress, that also allows me to create content, because most of my content that I'm creating is coming from client questions or questions that are coming from the DMs. But most of them are, and I'm getting those from my client progress reports, and I'm using those progress reports as well to hold them accountable and say, you know what, you said this and this happened, so let's see what we can do about that. So these are my 18 systems. And if you're like, oof, this was a little bit too much, no worries. I am always creating a blog post about every episode. And so you can find the list of all the systems in my blog post. Just find episode number 40 and you will get it. So it's bureausbb.com/podcast, and that's where you'll find them. I've also added a free download for you today. It's a productivity checklist to make your life a lot easier. And this episode was really to inspire you about what is possible through systems. There's much more systems actually I'm not using yet, and I'm very much looking forward to. So, for instance, Notion that I talked about. And I'm actually very happy to share an update maybe with you next year. So, yeah, thank you so much for listening. And there is a bunch of stuff that we can do to work together. I'm creating a little, some smaller items. Currently, also, there's an interesting Black Friday deal coming up very, very soon. In the meantime, you can book a 3-week intensive with me or a 1-week Voxer. If you really like listening to this and learning from me, really consider if, investing in your business might be something for you, and see if I can help you. And you will get a link maybe from my Typeform application form, so you know exactly how that goes. Thank you so much for listening, and hope to see you next week.